in and thinking there's a different camera angle, and that is because there is. And I've solved the lighting situation, so we now should not be bothered by any light sort of getting in the way of the camera. So you might be wondering, like, how come the camera angles changed? Well, essentially, I have moved everything around. I've done the first of probably what is going to be many moves around in this front room, and I've done like a mega move around where I have literally moved every single cabinet unit in this room, and the whole room has been like redesigned and organized, and it just looks a lot better. So basically on Friday I waved goodbye to my vinyl turntables. They're going to a new home. I've sold them because they were just collecting dust. They were just getting in the way. I had wires trailing everywhere, and I just need other things at the moment. Never say never to getting vinyl again. But they're going to somebody who just wants to spin some records and get into a little bit of mixing at home. And, it's perfect. We're in 2024, so vinyl, for somebody like myself who really wants to get out there and be gigging, is not really it's not really the in thing anymore to go out and play vinyl in nightclubs and things. It's a little bit of a kind of like, we don't really do it anymore. So with that being said, we I just kind of thought, let's just get rid of some of the records that I like rarely play, and let's just get rid of the turntables. And then if I just want to get like a little sort of like cheap record player just for listening purposes, then that will be obviously what I'll do completely fine. So I packed the turntables down, ready just to give them a wipe and ready for them to go to their new home. And it kind of decided that while I was doing that, I would take the opportunity just to have a little bit of a change around and move where the decks are, and kind of make just a little bit of a smaller setup. Now I'm only going to be having the RX on there, and it just looks a hell of a lot better. I've moved my sofa, I've moved my TV, I've moved some other units, and now currently where I'm sat is where I used to stand and DJ. So it's all moved, but because I've moved it here, we now don't have light in the background, so it's really good. So anyway, welcome back to another stream. Today I want to do a stream on my like production sort of journey. I can't fully remember what I titled the stream, like production progress, whatever it might be. And I just wanted to do a little stream and talk a little bit about kind of like I want to kind of say rise and fall of production. So I was just having a general browse on YouTube today, and there's a YouTube channel on YouTube called Donk House Records, and they're a pretty big channel. They have like 68K subscribers or something like that, and essentially they post like little sample clips up of people's production. They put people's mixes up, and they just basically share and promote like all things bounce. And when I got a couple of releases on Excite last year, they put some of the little like samples of the tunes up on their YouTube channel. So when I say samples, more like I guess what we'd call like the radio edits. Big ups, people. So they put like the radio edits up, and they have some like funky Donk House Records kind of like visuals on the screen. And they promote, my tracks, and I was all like fine and dandy and good about that. And also Excite, they have a YouTube channel themselves where they put like little promo videos of the tracks that they've signed. And anyway, to cut the story short, I saw that they'd put my remix of High Hopes up on their Excite channel, and they'd also put my Played Alive. And then I just thought I'd have a general browse up on YouTube just to see like, you know, what tracks of mine have actually been put onto YouTube and stuff. So I had a little browse, and it came to my attention that the Donkhouse Records have actually put up like more of my tracks. And it was quite overwhelming, and some of them have hit like over 1,000 views, which is quite, you know, for me it's quite a buzz, because like that's like, you know, 1K people that have like listened to that track, you know, whatever the track may be. So it was a little bit of a kind of like buzz, which kind of made me kind of want to do this stream, because I was just kind of feeling a little, I was feeling a little overwhelmed by like the fact that they'd like promoted these other tracks as well, and just that there was some, you know, some of my good tracks on there. There's pretty much everything that I've released, sort of from Excite, sort of through to a couple of the Grooving Sound. Well, I think there was one of the Grooving Sound stuff, but essentially it was mainly the Excite stuff that they've released. I think, you know, I think genuinely they release. I don't think that they're fully aware of like what Grooving Sounds is, and then but they know obviously what Excite is. And then I think when my collab with DJ Lashes came onto Grooving Sounds, I think she sent the track to them to be put on there, to, you know, to put a sample on the channel. And I think that's how that one ended up going up on there. So I might have to send the guy some of my other bits and bobs that might be of interest to him to put on his channel. But it just got me feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and the production has lacked lately. I'm not gonna lie. The production has really lacked for me this year. So last year we were kind of on this like rise, and you know, first off I got opportunities to release on Bounce Core Records, which, you know, at the time was an absolute buzz. I'd never kind of had any tracks released before, other than putting stuff through Layman Productions, which, you know, I always love doing that. Layman Productions is, you know, it's absolutely amazing. But, you know, as far as like some of the Bounce labels go, I hadn't had any releases. I'd sent a few stuff to Bounce 7, and, you know, been rejected, which, you know, looking back now, I can probably like why they got rejected. You know, we all improve, and, you know, we all make changes, and even now not every track I'm making is, you know, is absolutely at its best, and people point out like this sounds a little bit wrong, or something sounds a bit flat, which I'm glad people do, because it gives me the chance to kind of think, right, this is where I'm going wrong. I can try and build sort of from there, and that's kind of like a good thing. But last year we kind of got these opportunities to start, you know, releasing to some of these labels, and Excite came along, and Excite was quite a big one for me, because Excite was just kind of growing, you know, and to kind of jump on board this label that was growing, it was really just amazing. And, you know, and I can't thank Rick Shaw enough for giving me that opportunity, and taking them sort of, you know, first tracks that I sent to them on board, the Played Alive, the Hangover, the High Hopes, and the Takes Me Higher. You know, just absolutely amazing that I got that opportunity to take them tracks on board, and, you know, and release them through there. And then we come into the 2024, and we kicked off with a banger of a release, a collab from myself and Joe Dunn. I only listened to that again today, and it was the first time I played it for a while, and it was the Donkhouse Records that have put it up. And I just thought, you know what, it actually doesn't sound half bad for a track. And I was just thinking, you know what, like, this year I've hardly sent anything to Excite, because I had my issues with FL Studio, which, if you don't know, I was essentially using a cracked version of FL Studio, and then I essentially went to do a collaboration with a friend on a track, and he had a older version of FL Studio than me, and he was on a cracked version also. So I sent him a link to where you could get a cracked version of what I thought was the version I was on. So he downloaded that version, and we began on this collab. And he sent me the project file back, and that crack that he had downloaded had been updated, so it was now a newer version than the one I had, which was a little bit. So I just thought, right, I'll just go and re-download that link and blah blah blah. And I did that, and my computer crashed, and I don't know what caused it to crash. I don't think it was anything to do with the cracked version I was installing, because I've installed FL Studio cracks off that website for a very, very long time. I've been using it for a long time. So basically, I don't know what it was, but it wouldn't let me install the new version. So like, it downloaded to the computer, and then when you actually install the program, through the install menu, that's when my computer would start lagging and freezing. So in the end, I thought, I'm taking this production seriously. I might as well just like buy a full version, and then I'm on the current version. Everything's legit. And me being a daft me, I bought the wrong version, and I bought like the cheapest version of FL Studio that was imaginable. So when you get the cheapest version, there's a lot of features on FL Studio that you can't use, like you're limited to 8 audio tracks. And essentially, like, all the projects that I'd made prior to buying this legit version, they all were over 8 tracks. So as soon as you decide like that you want to change something or take something out, like, you can't change something because it tells you you're at your limit of 8 of 8 tracks. Whereas when you're on the producer version, and you get the unlimited tracks, you can just basically like swap a sample for another sample. Whereas when you've reached your limit of 8 tracks, if you try and swap a sample, it will just delete that sample and say you're on a maximum of like 8 tracks. So like, if you're loading a project and it's using like, I don't know, like 14 different audio tracks, then like it will not let you change them sounds to something else, because basically that version of FL is not supposed to have the 14 tracks on it. But because it was currently made in a project that in a version of FL that allowed you to do that, it still opens it in the 8 channels, but you just can't change anything. So it really kind of like screwed me over. And now every time like I make a track, I'm limited to 8 tracks, which can kind of really annoy, like, it's really annoying. So what I tend to try and do is make them at the Youth Music Studio, so I can use more than 8 tracks there. And then what I do is I bring them back home and I finish them off at home. So once I've got all the audio tracks in place, like to the point where I know that I'm not going to change them anymore, I'll take them home, because when I'm at home I can still play with like I can play with VSTs and stuff. Like, it doesn't affect VSTs. It doesn't affect like adding new patterns, as long as they're just not dragging in like dragging a sample sort of straight onto the main project itself. If you're putting it through the channel rack and then you're using the piano roll, like, you can use any, you can use hundreds of tracks all day long. The only thing, like, if you're dragging, say, like a little crash cymbal, or you're dragging like a little fill effect, you won't be able to do that once you're beyond the 8 tracks. So it really kind of screwed me over. And like, because of that, like, I've not been getting the best results on my tracks, to where I kind of feel like, yeah, I want to send them to Excite. So that was kind of why I've not been sending anything for a while. And I sent one track to them a while ago, and they said that there was some issue with vocals and they needed like a re-sung karaoke vocal. And I had a listen. Like, they sent me a link to where I could get this karaoke vocal from, and in all honesty, I just wasn't keen on the vocal itself, like the way it was sung. I just preferred the original one, so I just decided not to change the vocal and use the vocal and use the karaoke one. And because I'd already exceeded over the limit of the 8 tracks as well, I couldn't replace the vocal because there was too many audio tracks being used. And then when I took the project over to the studio is now on a not so new version because the internet is shocking in the studio, and I can't update the FL Studio. So that's been like a real pain. So literally I just had to, that was the version of that beautiful monster that I've got. That is it. Can't change it. But can't change the vocal, can't edit it in that sense. And I kind of liked how it sounded anyway, so I just decided that I was just going to leave that one. However, today I have managed to get a project down and finished that I think I'm happy with, and I have just sent it over to Excite just to see what they say, and I will basically just be waiting to hear back. I don't know when I'll hear back. I'll probably get a message tomorrow saying like, because I sent it quite late, so I'll probably get a message tomorrow saying I'll have a listen tonight, and then they'll have a listen, Thursday night, tomorrow night, tonight. Now it's just gone midnight, and then they'll probably, if it's gonna get released, they'll say, yeah, we'll take that one, and then they'll send me artwork over, and then either right there and then, or a couple of hours later, or the following day, they'll send me a promo video where it's just like a little promo video with the artwork and just a sample of the tune, and then I can announce obviously when it's going to come to Excite. So I'm looking forward to seeing if they'll take it on board. I personally, I feel I feel a little bit like I feel confident that they'll take it, but there's a little part of me, because I've not sent them something for so long. Like, I don't know if it's just me like self-doubting myself, but there's just a little bit of me that kind of feels a little bit nervous. Like, so I feel quite confident that they'll take it, but I am also a little bit nervous that they might not take it. But for the most part, like, I think they will take it. But all we can really do is see. All we have to really do is see. I can't really say any more than that. But I'm looking forward to the outcome. And if they don't take it, like, I'm kind of hoping that I get some kind of explanation as to why they didn't want to take it on board. Because I like it. I like getting constructive criticism. I like getting feedback, whether it's good or bad, because sometimes getting the bad feedback. Well, when I say bad, I mean like the constructive criticism. Like, then you kind of know like where you can kind of like change and fix up, or there might be a specific part of the track that they just doesn't think sounds right, and then they can tell me, I can go back and fix it up, and I can resend it to them. Whereas some people, they will just say like, no, this isn't for us, and then you kind of don't think, like, you don't get told why, you don't really know like where to improve, so then you kind of just stuck with this track where you kind of think, well, I've just made this, I don't really know where to change it. They're saying it's not good enough, but they're not really saying why. So I like people that just give you a little bit of a nod and say, I don't know, it sounds a little bit flat here, or that just change that melody sound a bit, or the vocals just a little too loud or something. Just some little pointers, so you kind of know where you're going wrong. And I think that just helps massively. Like within production. But yeah, it's been a little bit of a slow year, but I'm kind of hoping to kind of end the year with getting a couple of releases onto Excite again. So I know they're quite busy. I know they have a lot of submissions, they have a lot of tracks coming out. So I'm kind of thinking that they won't release it till maybe September time or something like that. I'm not, like I say, I'm not really fully aware, so I'll just have to kind of sort of see what they say. But someone has just put a thingy up a day ago. It's out. Oh, that's out this Friday. But sometimes people like they put clips up, and it's the promo video from Excite, and it'll say like, it's coming out October, September or something, and a couple of months away. I know they get bombarded with a lot of submissions, so we'll see. But I have submitted to them before, so you never know. They might find a space for me like in September. Late August, September would probably be like very happy for me, or something like that. But we'll see what they say. All I can obviously tell you is see what they say. And as for the future of my production, I've been working on quite a few tracks, and some of them they need a little bit more work than others. I'm not gonna lie, some of them sound a little bit flat. But apart from that, like we've got some good tracks. I think that the main thing for me is getting some nice melodies on some of the tracks, and sometimes I've got this. I feel like with the tracks, I've got these really good intros. So like I get the kick and the basses for like the intro really good. I get the first verse sounding good. Or however I structure the track, and then I go into the breakdown, and I kind of feel like I'm getting like the pads and the strings and everything kind of sounding nice in the breakdown, and then I kind of feel like I get an all right melody, but like I feel like I lack on the melodies, and then it kind of builds back up, and when it drops, it's kind of like it drops into something that just sounds quite flat. And I'm just not finding the like the vibe that I'm wanting. Which is a little bit difficult. So I kind of feel like when it comes to melodies, I get a little bit stuck, and I'm kind of gotten into this kind of like sort of like habit where I just kind of like follow the bass and then just make like a sim sound and follow kind of like just the bass notes, like do 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 do, rather than trying to create something a little bit more melody like. So that's kind of where I'm struggling. And then some of the tracks, just when they drop, when they build up and they drop, they're just sounding a little bit flat, like they need something a little bit more there. And I think that's kind of where I'm kind of struggling a little bit at the moment, just with the inspiration side of things. But I'm sure it'll pick up, or I'll get some ideas, and I just need to learn a little bit more. So yeah. Guess who is back from not so long ago, and it is Charlie. Charlie is back from not so long ago. Dang. We got Ducks Void. Yeah, I recognise the name Charlie. I know you was in. I know you popped in the stream the other day, but I have done 101 things since that stream. I want to say. You was the guy who told me to eat. That I was gravy drinking. I want to say that was you, but I've done that many things. That's a proper snoz. I don't know what you mean. You know about the nose, like I got a big nose. That's a proper snoz. Yeah, if you mean nose, I mean having a big nose comes with its perks. Because obviously, if you have a big nose, you can you can suss out and you can smell bad people. Thought I was looking at a pig. Well, you're not looking at a pig, and my ears are also quite big as well. So yeah, it means I can smell when there's dodgy people around, and I can also hear and listen out for bad vibes. So it's all good my end. It is all good my end, as they say. So yeah, so we had a, like I say, we had a little bit of a change around in the room. So I'll give you a little bit of a kind of like living room stroke studio room tour. So they're down there, they're the vinyl turntables. Um, they're going on Friday, so they're being sold because, like I say, there was just collecting dust. So the TV, that never used to be here. That used to be over there, and they've just swapped places. So that big cabinet thing that was there is now where the telly was. That purple unit there that's got the CD player and the PlayStation on top, that used to be part of the decks. So when I had the turntables, they went up against the. I've got a white unit the same as this, and basically they just like the two turntables and the RX, they won't fit on the white cabinet on their own. So I used to put the brown one, the wood one next to it, whatever you want to call it, just so they'd all fit. So basically, I've just moved that for now, and that now just has the PlayStation on top, and it has the CD player. The sofa has now obviously moved. My work badge is there. Yeah, the sofa's moved here. Just so it's looking up at the telly. So where I used to have the telly before, and because of that cabinet unit, the sofa was always really, really close to the TV. So I used to sit like literally within a couple of yards away from the TV. And I just don't think it does you any good sitting too close. So I wanted to kind of not be sat as close to the telly. So that was obviously another decision that I decided to do. And then we come over to here. So this is my production PC. So this is where I make all my donks. This is where I make all the bounce tunes. So this is currently right now where the decks used to be. So where I'm currently sat is there used to be the white unit along here, and then I used to sort of where the computer desk actually is now. I used to stand. I was behind the decks, and then I'd do my mixing. And then where the decks are now, which is over here, the computer used to be among this wall here. Um, so I just basically swapped them around because obviously with me kind of moving the wood cabinet and it not being next to this white one, it just meant that I didn't need to have this big long wall to utilize all the space. So I moved everything here. We've got my two PA speakers, loads more of my vinyl. And I've also managed to free up so I'm not using as many extension leads as well. And I've managed to tidy up. And there's no wires, there's no leads across the floor there. So that's obviously like another really good sort of thing. So now I'm just using one big extension lead, and that is powering the computer, it's powering the decks, and when I use the decks, and then my CD rack is just there. I've also got a new guitar as well. It was in my mate's garage. It's just got a broken string. It needs a string, and then it needs retuning, and it just needs a little bit of a clean. But I just thought, you know what, like I want to learn the guitar. Like I don't want to really like take it up like in a professional way. I just want to be able to pick up a guitar and just be able to strum some basic chords essentially. Or if ever I don't know, I'm doing something with music production and there's a part of the track and I want to add like a guitar sound in it, and I can just have a little strum. And kind of to the point, know what I'm doing, because at the moment, like when it comes to kind of like guitars, I don't really know how to play them. Like I say, I'd like to learn just so I can say, do you know what, like I can play guitar. And then if ever I do kind of need to play it, or if ever I do want to play it anywhere, then I obviously can play it somewhere. But yeah, it's very mucky. It does need a good clean, and it just needs one of the strings needs restringing, and it will need tuning. In all fairness, if I'm gonna restring one of the strings, I might just restring them all because I think it's been sat in the garage. Um, you know. So I think sometimes that them just being stood, or if they've not been stored too well, they can be hard to retune. So yeah, we'll see. Charlie lashes out. Hey, we all lash out sometimes. I do my fair. I lashed out. Well, I say lashed out. I haven't like really properly lashed out for a long time. But I got a little bit angry last week. Um, Last Tuesday I think it was. So not the Tuesday just gone, but the Tuesday before. I just had a couple of things were going wrong, and I just essentially got a little bit like where you've just had enough, and that was kind of the thing, and I just got a little bit stressed, and then because I got stressed, I got a bit muddled up and confused, and I just needed to sit back and take a breather, and just kind of go from there. Um, but yeah, apart from that, like just we all lash out, don't we? We all get angry from time to time. Whatever that other guy was saying, just ignore him. I've had 9 years. Like, do you know what I mean? You know, like just ignore that other guy. Like, who is he at the end of the day? He's just an account. He's just an account. I ain't really asked if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've had 9 years of dealing with people leaving negative comments. If I'm not used to it by now, I'm in the wrong fucking game, Like, literally. I hit my brother. He said, "Oh yeah, I know we did, but I'm not though, am I? Like I'm not. So does bother me. So like I'm like I'm not what he was saying I was. So never have been and never. But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I am going to cut from this stream because it's getting late. I've been at work for way longer than I ever normally am at work today. So I left my house just after 9 this morning, flat, whatever you want to call it. I got home, literally nowhere to lie. I got home about 10:15 tonight. So essentially, I can't remember if it was yesterday or Monday, but I got an email from another member of staff at work who works in one of the youth centres that is kind of like provided by Goodwin, and essentially they were short staffed for this evening, and I had no clue what this was really about at first, and I thought, just a typical normal youth session. I can't do it. I've got another session at the Kingston Youth Centre in the studio. I can't do it, unfortunately. And there was and they begged and begged, and I'm thinking like, I'm at another session. And then they said, well, this session isn't starting till 7:30, and I thought, hang on, 7:30's a bit late to be starting a session in it. So I thought, all right, yeah, if it's 7:30, I can do it. And then they said, what time are we finishing? And then they said when the match finishes. And it was only then that I clicked on that they were actually opening up to watch the football. England was obviously playing tonight. So I thought, football's not my biggest thing, but I thought, you know what, all right, I'll do it. Extra work, extra pay, blah blah blah. Anyway, it turns out that if I hadn't have agreed to do it, they would have had to have like not ran the session. So essentially, the session relied on me being there because they can't have only one staff member at the youth centre when there's about when there's over 12 like young people coming in to watch football. And believe you me, I've worked in a few youth centres over the past year, the Kingston being the main one, recently going to Route 1. This youth centre is by far, and I don't mean this in a nasty way, but by far, like, this is the worst youth centre that I've worked in. And when I say worst, I don't mean like as in I don't enjoy it. What I mean is in like it's the one where like you get the most like naughty kids. So like there's people that come in to this youth centre and they want to play fight. They want to start throwing bean bags at each other. They want to chase each other around the room. They wanna chuck water at each other. There's people that go in toilets and write things on the wall, like swear words and then if they get kicked out, they decide that they're going to chuck sand at the window and stuff like that, and just so you get the good kids that come in and behave and all the rest of it, but you get the kids that are just mischievous and they're just hyper and they just want to run around and they just sometimes they come and they just want to be destructive and they want to be as loud as possible and they want people to know that they're here and they make an entrance and they get warnings and then sometimes they get banned for a week or 2 weeks depending what they've done. And tonight was no exception. They were throwing bean bags, they were play fighting, they were chucking water, they were shouting. So some of them attempt to be rude to staff, which they obviously get told off for. But yeah, basically, so they relied on me going there so they could open up and watch the match because they couldn't do it with only one staff member, which is obviously understandable. So there's another guy who physically can't work it when it's too like loud and noisy, and when there's like football matches on, like he can't work it because of I think to do with his mental health. And then there was another staff member that was on holiday, and it only left that that this other person was on her own. And I've helped out there before, so if I am available, I do pick up shifts there and help out if I can. I haven't done for a while, but like at first I didn't realise it. It was for the football match. I just thought it was like the normal Wednesday session, which if it was like that would have been at the time when I'd be doing my other session, so I wouldn't have been able to do it. But no, when I realised it was obviously for the football match, I was like, yeah, I had to do it. So the kick-off, well, the program. The program, for the match started at 7:30, but I think the kick-off was at about 8 o'clock, and then about I think 9:30 going up for 10 o'clock was when the match sort of came to its end, and then we have to clean up and we have to close down and we have to put all tidy all the chairs up and we have to pick rubbish up and throw wrappers and things in the bin. Any empty cups and stuff, we have to take them back to the kitchen and just have a general kind of close down and then shut all the shutters, turn the lights off. So by the time I got out, it was, and got back home, it was going up for like 20 past 10. So, it's been a long day to say the least, but it's all part of work. It's all part of what I do. It's all part of what I enjoy. So, tomorrow, yes, I am in a new filming spot. I am. So tomorrow I'm at a work event in the afternoon. So that is going to be quite fun. So what I'm going to do is cut from this stream. My phone is also getting low. So make sure to like, comment, share, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you very soon.